Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for swinging by once again. If you could, as always, like, subscribe, comment. Super easy, super quick, and it's free, and it helps me out a ton. Today's video is an exciting one. I finally had the chance to go over and shoot the new 2025 carry gun, which is the Shadow Systems CR920XP. This is Shadow Systems iteration of a Glock 48 MOS with a compensator. You can see there on the top. This has a flush fit, kind of seamlessly integrated compensator on the front of the gun. The only rounds I've put through this have been at the an indoor range where I did an initial 200 round break-in period, kind of video explaining the break-in period and why some people kind of have some reservations about it. Some people think it's totally fine, but I really like the Shadow Systems guns, and I really like what they did as far as the concealed carry example in the CR920. I know they had the CR920, which is like even smaller than a P365. They have the CR920X, which is basically short slide and this length grip. And then they have the CR920XP, which is the longer grip, same length slide with the integrated compensator, which brings it to the exact dimensions of a Glock 45. So extremely carryable package. I have been loving it so far. I've only got, I think, 48 rounds on it. That's the amount of time it took me to do the break-in on this gun. We did some 124 grain Callaway munitions, 124 grain hollow points, and that really expedited the process of breaking this thing in. But today we're going to be shooting exclusively Callaway 115 grain FMJ. So just very standard reloaded, you know, range ammo. And we're going to see if we get any kind of choking with this big compensator, because that port on the top is huge. And in the factory manual, it does recommend that you use plus P ammunition. And of course, for self-defense, I would obviously use that anyway. But today we're going to see how it runs the 115, you know, for hopefully an extended period of time. So guys, right here, I have 3 targets set up. All of them are on USPSA or IPSC target, cardboard targets, but it's even a smaller printed target. So they're very tiny. I mean, this is like, I don't want to say it, it's like baby size target. They're very small, but we're just going to pull this thing out of concealment. I'm running it out of my, you probably can't see it, but I'm running it out of my T-Rex Arms appendix holster. I believe this is the Raptor, if I'm thinking that right. This holster is probably one of the best I've ever used. I've used Tier 1, I've used like C&G, I've used Works holsters. Because this has this kind of fabric suede backer on it, these are incredibly comfortable. But we're just going to run this thing from the appendix today because it is a concealed carry gun, so we might as well shoot it like a concealed carry gun. So let's go ahead and get the first shots here, and we'll just do a little double tap on each. But here we go. All right, man. I love this thing. First off, I love this thing. I knew it when I shot it at the indoor range, and it just confirms it now. This thing is it's so soft. It shoots so soft. There's hardly any snap. A gun this size usually has a lot of snap. Very little snap, extremely accurate. Normally I have a red dot on it, but I'm just shooting irons today, which I haven't done in a very long time. And we're grouping, I mean, tiny. I threw that one a little bit right on the right side, but grouping really tiny. So let's do that one more time. Oh yeah, this is feeling really good. Let's go ahead and just group it on this left target here. That's it. Let's do a simulated malfunction here. We're gonna stick an empty brass in the chamber, and I have a extra spare magazine in a Neo Mag holder in my pocket here. I've never used this either. I've had this for a long time, and I've never used it. So we're gonna see how that goes. Oh man, hard to reach and backwards. We'll have to fix that next time. Great hits though. Let's do a couple of 1R1s. So if you guys don't know, a 1R1 is 1 round in the chamber with an empty magazine. After that first shot, slide locks back, pull out your full magazine, insert, shoot again. It'll chamber the next round, empty, you know, swap magazines, and you can just repeat that over and over again. It's a pretty good drill for kind of getting you warmed up. Let's do it one more time. All right, definitely something to get used to with the Neo Mag. Gotta have to position it the right way. Reload was clean, however, it didn't lock back. I know a lot of times the 115s aren't strong enough to lock back this gun. I've seen that before in some videos. And they can't lock back my ported M&P 2.0 either, so I don't put it against it. So let's burn this last magazine here. No lock back. Oh man, it shoots so well though. This thing is so controlled. Right, so 30 rounds in, what do I think of the Shadow Systems CR920XP Iron Sights edition, really? I would probably be doing even better with the red dot. It is awesome. This gun is incredible. There are a lot of great pistols out there in this category. I used to have a SIG P365 X macro with the compensator. I know they have like a TAC Ops that is not compensated. Their naming structure is a little confusing, but I used to have an X macro. Great gun. I just wasn't really wanting to stay with SIG as a company, and I was getting a little tired of it. I had it for a while and wanted to do something new and different, and I just happened to land on the Shadow Systems. I was cross-shopping it with the Springfield Hellcat Pro Comp, and I really enjoyed that gun. However, it was a little snappy. Didn't seem like it was sprung super well from the factory, but that's another great option, especially in the price category, because if you don't know, this gun is about $1,000 from the factory. So I believe it's like $989, something like that MSRP. I got mine for a really great deal from a guy. Vital Defense is his name, and he did a wonderful job. I have the Streamlight TLR7 sub HLX on here. This is their higher powered sub compact, micro compact EDC light. Really love it. I wish it was just a little bit longer to be flush fit with the barrel. That's just kind of me being a little autistic on it. The light is excellent. I do have the Emissary development paddle shifter switches on there. You can kind of see them right there. Those really help me get an awesome grip on the pistol, and great activation on the light right here. Super easy, super convenient, works very, very, very well. This pistol is incredible for its size, its form factor. It's less than an inch wide. It's Glock 48 length, so you're nearly a Glock 43X in length. There's not a whole lot of barrel that's going to be sticking down in your pants when you're still carrying it. It's awesome, and it shoots incredibly flat. It shoots so well. This gun probably feels like a well-sprung 5-inch, like a Glock 34, basically. But it's in the micro compact size. It's 15+1 capacity, not quite as much as the X macro. However, they do have a extension you can put on these magazines for 18+1 if you can find them in stock. they tend to be difficult to find in stock. For me, 15 rounds is more than enough, and I usually carry a spare magazine on me anyway. So then I got 30 rounds of plus P or hollow points is a lot. And at 124 grains or 147s, they can be pretty heavy anyway. So it kind of keeps the gun a little bit light to be in that 15+1 capacity range. The texture on this thing is magnificent. It's aggressive enough to be grippy, but not too aggressive to be painful. I know that's kind of like the common adage everybody uses for that. Iron sights, like today, I'm gonna actually have to be using them. The iron sights are incredible. They are a black serrated rear with kind of a pointed chamfer to them. And then you have that really bright green front sight right there. Great sighting system. I am a big fan of having kind of backup iron sights on my rifles and all my pistols, and these ones are tall enough to co-witness, especially with how deep their optics cut is, and they're awesome. They're great sights, and obviously they track super well. This gun, I'm telling y'all, especially with a little small light on the front, just a little bit of a counterweight, this thing shoots so well. I mean, these are, again, this is a much smaller, you can tell this is a much smaller silhouette than an actual real silhouette. All of these would be within the A zone and be like almost 100% good to go. And we're at about 5 yards, which is super close, obviously, but from transition to transition, iron sights, especially rapid fire, I cannot complain about that performance whatsoever. The trigger on this thing is very, very obviously reminiscent of a Glock. I'll kind of give you the breakdown of it right here. So right here is your take up. It's kind of a heavy take up, and you hit your wall, and then just like a Gen 5 Glock or Gen 3 Glock, you have a little bit of a slow creep right there, some creep. You'll hit kind of another firm wall in the back, and then a break right there. Nice, clean, very little over travel. And then your reset is right there. Nice, forceful reset. Really pushes your hand back, pushes your finger back, and encourages fast shooting. Completely serviceable trigger. I know a lot of people get a little trigger picky, I guess you could say. Me personally, I like to keep my carry guns pretty OEM factory, just for maybe like legality reasons, if you want to say that. You know, if you have to use this in a self-defense encounter, they're going to take it away anyway. So I don't really want to put a ton of money into it when I've already bought, you know, $1,000 gun, put a $200 light on it, $150, whatever, and then a $200-300 red dot. You know, so I'm already losing a pretty significant piece of equipment. I just don't want to ruin or give up anything else by putting a trigger and springs and this and all these different things on it. The Shadow Systems come from the factory very well equipped. You have deep front and rear slide serrations that face forward. So whenever you're manipulating the pistol back towards you, the serrations dig right into your hand and allow you to rack this thing extremely easily. No problem whatsoever. A little bit of a window cut just for style to show off that fluted spiral barrel right there. Obviously an attractive handgun. I don't think anybody can say that the Shadow Systems guns are ugly. They may say they're a little gaudy, which maybe they are. I don't know. Personal preference. I don't know if anybody could say they don't look good. It is a Glock kind of grip angle, which me switching from my M&P and then shooting this is a little bit of a kind of getting used to factor. I do find myself on presentation pointing this one up a lot with the nose kind of going up like this because of that heel in the back of the grip. So I do have to drive it down usually. As you can tell, one of my first shots was high right here. So just something you kind of have to think about and train about. They do have this feature here in the grip. I love this contour right here. M&P does this too. A lot of the manufacturers do this. This little kick out right here is wonderful. That is actually a huge part of how flat a gun shoots and how controlled the recoil is. Because when you hold a pistol and you have a little bit of a shelf here, your pinky gets pushed up into your second finger here and causes a really nice tight and controlled grip. It really engages all the texture on the frame and really kind of gives you like an excellent fulcrum point. If this was on a rest and you shot it and you held it right here, it's going to tilt at this position, right? So if you can put more pressure, more grip pressure with your pinky at the bottom, that's going to force the gun to recoil more towards into your arm versus flipping up muzzle high. And so this, you know, M&P does this, Walther does this, a lot of companies do this. That is a much appreciated feature on this pistol. You do have a slightly beveled magwell, just barely. I would say I would wish for a little bit more of a funnel there. I understand why they did it, but I know the Shadow Systems full-size guns, they all have flared magwells that come with them, and I really wish that they would have included a flared magwell with this gun, but unfortunately they didn't, and I've looked online, and as of now, nobody makes a flared magwell for this gun, and a lot of that I bet is because of that kind of weird like oblong foot shape, I guess you can call that. I'm not really sure what to call that. It's got a weird shape to it, so a magwell might be a little bit challenging to make for this pistol. You have an excellent magazine release. A lot of people switch out their factory Glock magazine releases for the ones from Shadow Systems, just because they have a little bit of a chamfer cut here. It's little serrations. It's a super effective magazine release. It's very simple. Like, you wouldn't think something like that makes a big difference. This one does, and it's extended enough to be prominent and easy to get to, but not so extended that it's going to cause you to have malfunctions and eject your magazine when you don't want to. The slide release is something that I wish I could change, and the reason being is it's a little sharp, and I don't want to sound like a wussy, but it's a little pointed. You can tell when it's up like this in the lock back position, it kind of sticks out pretty good, and when you go to engage it, it really, if you push on that, I mean, that could go straight through your skin. And so I wish it was either beveled or rounded, but just to make it a little bit more comfortable and less kind of dangerous for your hand, I guess you could say. On to the red dot. So I unfortunately had to send back my C&H Precision EDC enclosed dot. First off, I want to say I love the dot. It's incredibly effective. Massive window for an enclosed RMSC pattern optic. Unfortunately, after I did the 200 round break-in video, which is about 48 rounds, I noticed that the reticle was slightly tilted like this. Not a big deal as far as like the effectiveness of the reticle. However, I'm the kind of guy who I want my thing to work, right? I want it to be the way that it should be. And so I had to contact customer support and send them back that red dot, and they're shipping me a new one at no cost. It was an easy process, not a big deal. But for the meantime, I'm running it skinny, which has kind of been interesting carrying. I haven't carried without a red dot in a while, and it's been fairly comfortable. But I will always prefer a red dot over iron sights every day, all day. That's just me. So unfortunately, you guys don't get to see it with the EDC enclosed. However, you can see that in my other video, the 200 round break-in, and you get a little more in-depth look at the red dot on that video. Go check it out. Let's go ahead and do some accuracy testing with this, because that is a big reason why Shadow Systems recommends the break-in period, is to get that clean lockup between the chamber and the slide right there. And I know a lot of people, a buddy of mine makes fun of me for doing this, but this is where a lot of your accuracy comes from, is the lockup between barrel and slide. That is where a lot of your accuracy is produced, along with obviously the rifling in the barrel and your ammunition, things like that. But a big reason why these do require a break-in period is because they fit these barrels and slides tight. And then after that, you know, 200 rounds or so, or less really, that fit kind of wears together. The slide and the barrel material kind of wears together, and it becomes extremely buttery, very smooth. And then of course, with a compensated pistol, you know, you do have to have a little bit more leeway when it comes to running certain ammunition. Even like the other day, I was at a competition and I saw a guy running a Radian Ramjet in a Glock 17, and he was having a few problems. So it happens. It's just something you have to be aware of. That's why usually with compensators, for serious use, you run hotter ammo to make sure that there's enough gas to cycle that slide, fully lock it back, you know, fully extract the spent casing, all that kind of stuff. So, but let's go ahead and do some accuracy testing. We have a small MOA target here on the right side, and let's just see what kind of groups I can print with the Shadow Systems CR920XP. All right, guys, we're gonna walk out about 7 yards from the target. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll call this 7, good enough for me. And we're aiming top left on that orange circle there. We're just gonna do some real basic kind of like practical accuracy here. And again, we're using iron sights. Probably would be a little better with a red dot, but this is good enough for me. So let's go ahead and get a nice group here. All right, that was 15 rounds, 16 rounds, I believe. Man, look at that. So aside from a couple of flyers on the top, and then obviously I'm aiming directly here in the center, so it's hitting a little high right. That could be ammo, that could be the way I'm framing up the iron sights. I haven't shot iron sights in probably like 2 years at this point. So, but that grouping is excellent. I mean, that's aside from 4 shots, all those are touching in that center group. So these guns are incredibly accurate from the factory. And again, super short barrel and a compensator, you're getting accuracy like that. Very impressive. Super happy with that. All right, guys. So that is a quick range review of the Shadow Systems CR920XP, my new carry gun for 2025. I have been nothing but happy with this pistol. It checks all the boxes, and I mean, honestly, I'm about to spend, if I got a Glock 43X, I'd be spending, you know, probably $1,200 after buying the pistol on modifications. If you wanted to send off your slide to get this kind of slide work done and then recoated, it'd probably be $200, $300, $400 depending on where you send it. To get a bronze barrel, you're going to spend a little extra money. To get like something like a Harrington Arms compensator or a PMM compensator, that's another $200, $300. To get a pair of night vision sights, those are expensive. Those are up $100, $150. To get an optic cut, unless you buy the MOS, another $100. To get your frame stippled, contoured, and like double undercutted like this one, that's another $100, $200, $300, you know, depending on where you send it again. Then you have upgraded magazine release. This has a full length dust cover on it. So there's a couple of features that it comes with that a Glock doesn't even have. You're just getting a much better, well thought out package from the factory that performs exceptionally well. I cannot wait to continue to shoot this thing. It's been 100% reliable today. I am absolutely in love with it. This is such an awesome gun to carry. It's so thin. It fits so nicely in this T-Rex Arms holster. Like, you know, if I had my shirt untucked, I'd obviously throw it over, but it fits so well. It's nice and tucked away, the contour. There's not a huge kind of flare on the end to print it all. It's amazing. They did such a good job with this pistol, and I am extremely happy. As a little celebration, let's do a little mag dump with the CR920XP to lead us off. Thank you guys so much for watching. As usual, comment and subscribe. And you know what? Put in the comments that I'm fat. Do that. It'll let you get some anger out, because I need to lose some weight, and I could use the motivation. So just say, Ben, you're fat in the comments. All right, guys. I will see you on the next one. Peace.